Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. We're going to be talking with Kenton Clairmont from Train to Hunt today. The New Year's resolution season is pretty much over with, which means that you're either doing it or you ain't. And if you need something to kind of kick you in the ass, well then the Train to Hunt National Championships is as good a reason as any. Now, if you're going to be doing Train to Hunt, I strongly encourage you, if you're a traditional bow hunter, and you dislike what's going on in the wider world of outdoor fitness, then do Train to Hunt. It's completely different than what you're seeing on social media by comparison to what those other people are doing. It's a great community, and me personally, I would like to make competing with traditional equipment in the Train to Hunt National Championships a bit of a status symbol. Because let's face it, as elitist as this sounds, it really is. Now, I'm not that great a shot. And so, if I'm doing a 20 target 3D shoot, I basically need to show up with, 24 arrows. And where do you get your arrows? Well, Three Rivers Archery mostly, and so if you want a discount code for your purchases at Three Rivers Archery, you can use the code of Tex Grebner, and that will give you free shipping on all your trad life supplies. Now, if you are going to be doing the Train to Hunt Challenge and Train to Hunt National Championships, I strongly encourage you to get other people involved in it. I hope that you guys will enjoy this interview with Kenton Clairmont from Train to Hunt, and I really do hope that you understand that even though there is not a separate traditional division anymore, they didn't just throw it away. We're not in it with the compound shooters. The compound shooters are in it with us. Right now here with me I have Kenton Clairmont, as I call him, the visionary madman behind Train to Hunt. And so, Kenton, the burning question in a lot of people's minds right now is, with Train to Hunt, what has happened to the traditional division? Because I understand that it was, let's face it, I'm basically a legend of sorts in Train to Hunt.
Hey, you're a national champ, buddy.
I didn't win anything.
You showed up.
I showed up, but I did not win anything.
Okay, all right. We've been through this.
We've been through this.
Right. I get you.
And so, but I am basically the original gangster and mascot of the traditional division.
Yep.
So,
I'll agree with that.
anyways, this year there is no traditional division. You can compete with traditional, but there is no separate set of awards. So, why do we not have a traditional division?
That's a great question, and it's one that I think that is a long time coming to answer. I've had this discussion with several people, one of them which is a traditional guy, and here's my answer. So here's just straight dope. The fact of the matter is the competition doesn't look any different for the compound guy as it does the traditional guy, as far as like work done, weight carried, distance covered, reps on the box is the same height. If you take the bows out of the competition looks exactly the same for both. Now, enter the equipment. The difference between the compound and the traditional in the past has been that the compound guy had to shoot further than the traditional guy, traditionally.
Except for me the first year.
Yeah, except for you the first year, that you were the guinea pig, man. I'm glad the guinea pig's still around and still raving about the Train to Hunt. So I'm going to give you a couple reasons. One is I believe that by scaling, I'm going to use the word scaling, the challenge for your equipment, meaning if you're shooting a compound and you're shooting a target at 30 yards, to me, that is equal to shooting a target at 15 yards with traditional equipment, given that both people are on the same level of accuracy and maturity and practice with their perspective equipment. Now, understandingly, I know right now I hear guys just like right now raving about, hey, any slap dick can pick up a compound bow and get a lot better with it at 30 yards than if somebody picks up a traditional bow and starts shooting at 15 yards. It's going to take that person a lot longer to get good at 15 yards than the person with a compound bow at 30 yards. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. So basically what you're saying is, and I think I think what's important to actually cover is we're all in this together, but you will make it fair, is what you're saying.
For sure.
Because it is true that and as long as you modify it to where it's attainable, where, and trust me, you can ask me and I'll tell you truthfully, hey, this is, because, I mean, basically, personally, I'm not afraid of doing burpees. I did every burpee there was to do my first year. Sure.
That was because we had, to me, I did do a good job scaling at that point. I just really didn't understand the difference between compound. Well, I understood the difference, but
you hadn't seen it where my arrow.
Hey, Tex, that first year, there might have been you and one other person in the whole country that competed with traditional equipment. So I just didn't have a lot to go off of, But now that I have a few traditional guys under my belt, and I have some guys that are out there shooting traditionals, I've seen some guys that, like yourself, like Ryan Stegman. There's some guys out there that can really shoot. I don't want to miss the guy from Wyoming. I forget what his name is, but there's some guys out there that can really shoot the traditional, and you can tell that these guys haven't just picked it up and decided, well, I'm going to shoot a traditional equipment rather than a compound. They're well practiced, and you guys do well. You go out there and you shoot well. Dude, the fact of the matter is that I've seen those guys, and I've seen a lot of people who pick up traditional equipment because they can't shoot a compound with shit. That's the bottom line. They're like, you know what? I can't shoot this compound thing. I've spent $1,500. I still can't shoot it. I can't get the hang of shooting this thing. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pick up traditional. I'm going to join the traditional equipment posse and write the coattails of guys who have been doing this for a long time and say, now I'm a traditional guy. And then I'm going to go out and compete, and I'm going to bitch and moan about having to compete with compound guys because I'm shooting traditional. Well, the fact of the matter is if you are as well practiced with the traditional equipment as a compound guy is with his equipment, you should be able to hit a target that is half the distance of what you shoot.
I would agree with that, and also I feel like, because I just wanted to clear this up. I mean, the truth is, coming from where I'm at, one thing, I feel that the reason that those guys pick up traditional is because you're right. If you can't shoot for shit with a compound, traditional gives you an excuse to where you have to be closer.
Right.
Because let's face it, there's an awful lot of animals that walk around with arrows in the ass from people that think that they're Cam Haines.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Sadly enough, you're right. Sadly enough. Yeah.
And I'm just going to go on record. You're the business owner, so you can't say this. And I have friends that go there that I know through Train to Hunt as well. But when it comes, and this is a call to action to the viewer, there is the term of the Westie. The Westie. You will not find Westies at a Train to Hunt national event because all the Westies are over there at the Total Archery Challenge peacocking for each other. You will find real hardcore Western hunters at a Train to Hunt national. I'm going on record of saying that.
Yeah, and they're all pulling for you. That's one thing that, I'm glad you said that, Tex, because the one thing that you've said before, you could talk, people listening to this right now that are listening to what we have to say, they still have this doubt about, I don't want to go out and compete, or I don't want to get in a pissing match, or I don't want to go hang out with the Westies, as you say, or whatever it might be. As Tex said, you guys, that's not what we're about. Here's what Train to Hunt's about. Train to Hunt is about, hey, I have this fall coming up, and I want to be in good enough physical condition that I'm going to be able to enjoy my hunt, whatever that hunt is. It doesn't matter whether it's a backcountry hunt or a backyard hunt. It doesn't matter. But I want to be in good enough shape that I feel like I can get up day after day and do it. All the Train to Hunt Challenge is meant to be is a measuring stick for you. For you, afterwards you're going to be able to very easily recognize these are the things that I need to work on, whether it be my conditioning, my strength training, shooting under stress, managing my stress while or before I shoot. Maybe I need to work on putting more load on my back and carrying it out, or whatever it might be, but you're going to have this measuring stick after the Train Hunt Challenge. And all it's there for is to see where you are at that very moment, and then moving forward, you'll know what to work on. Everybody is in the same boat. I guarantee you there's not a person there that's not there to try to improve and put a measuring stick on how they're doing at that very point. You're not going to see anybody walking around, trying to be a Billy Badass and putting their nose in the air and trying to separate themselves from their group, which
you might see it until they drag through the mud a little bit, and then you never see them again.
That's true. At a qualifier, you might see that Billy Badass come in, and then afterwards, he's going to be a totally different person. And I've seen it time and time again where someone comes in, they're used to maybe competing in a different domain, whether it be CrossFit or triathlons or whatever it might be, bike races, and they come in and they think, they're really uptight, man, they really want to compete well. But then once the competition gets going and they get across the finish line, then they're like, you know what, hey, we are all in this together. And which brings me to my next point about the traditional division, back to the traditional division, and why I kind of decided that we were going to run everybody into the same umbrella. And that's, I feel like, and you can maybe attest to this, Tex, is that there's some separation. There's obviously some separation between, we can start big. We can start with the hunters and the anti-hunters. Now, there's a lot of people that fall in the middle of that. Then you have your gun guys, and you have your bow guys. And there's some separation there that say, I don't know, the bow guys are out there flinging arrows and wounding guys, and the archery guys are saying, well, these guys are shooting, 1,000 yards, and they're not even going over and checking it. So there's some separation there. Within archery, there's a little bit of separation between the compound guy and the traditional guy. And the fact of the matter is, and I think you can agree with this, is that when it comes right down to it, that deer doesn't give two shits what arrow goes through it and kills it. It's not going to get closer just because you have traditional equipment. It's not going to stand stiller because you have traditional equipment. It's not going to duck slower because you have traditional equipment. It's going to act like a deer. And so my point is that in this competition, we are going to scale things so that it's a little more realistic. And to the best of my knowledge, you can help me out with this, Tex, the best of my knowledge, in general, the traditional guy is going to shoot animals closer than the compound guy. And other than that, when you strip it right down to its bare thing, there's not a lot of difference, right?
Mechanically speaking, you are correct.
Okay.
As a general blanket statement, we hunt closer. We shoot shorter distances, and as long as it's scaled to where it's fair, then I'm all about it. Because, and me personally, there is a huge divide. Let's not sugarcoat it. There is a huge divide between traditional people and compound shooters. Now, I know a dude, his name is Tripper Sadler. He hunts with a compound, and he also hunts with a recurve. And the dude has killed more shit than smallpox with a recurve. And he always gets on me. He's the one that I pig hunt with.
Okay.
And he always gets on me about how I sound like I'm a traditional elitist. And there is a huge divide because there is an element of bragging rights and discipline that does have to go with traditional, because it is, I mean, there's no let off, and there are very few fail safes, and it's literally primal. Like, next to me doing the challenge with a spear, which you never know.
Yeah, I know.
We may do an exhibition one year, but next to doing it with a spear, it is super primal, to the point that the kind of chemicals that we're getting in our bloodstream when we're doing it, we're going way back to where it's not necessarily using a mechanical advantage, if that makes sense, where it's literally us and the bow and the target. And that's why we have such a chip on our shoulder, because there isn't that technology. But I mean, hell, I don't actually care at this point, right? Like, as long as it's going to be a fair contest, because let's not church it up, right? This is basically it's a contest.
It's a competition.
It's a competition. That's what it is. So as long as it's going to be fair, basically what you are saying is that you feel that under the rules of hunting that a traditional bow hunter would hunt under, that you would be able to compete with a compound shooter. That's what you're saying. That's why there's no traditional anymore.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is exactly that. That under the premise that because there's more room for error in a traditional equipment, there's a lot more room for error. The way to compensate for that room for that gap is to allow the traditional guys to shoot half the distance of the compound guys, which means your challenge course targets are going to be half the distance of the compound guys. All your 3D targets are going to be half the distance of the compound guys, except for like maybe the 5-yard shot.
Well, right.
The traditional guys own, But given that, and here's the other thing, I have seen traditional guys that I think if we set it up like this, they'd win it. I've seen it. Last year in the Colorado qualifier, there was a guy who came out. He was in the Masters division, and he got second with traditional equipment, and it was because he was fit. Because this is, I mean, like you said, let's call it what it is. It's a fitness/shooting under stress competition, and if you can shoot the lights out with a compound or a recurve, but you're out of shape and you can't lift and you can't move and you give up, you're not going to win. It doesn't matter. You could complain to me all day long that, well, if we'd have had our own traditional division, then out of place. Well, yeah, probably, because there'd be 3 people in your damn division and you get third, and you hang your hat on the fact that you came in third out of 3. But I'm going to throw you in the big group. And go beat those guys. Go beat those guys.
And that's exactly why I might have been a national champion, but I don't tell people that
you were.
That I am. Because, I mean, look, I told you before, every year we have had the traditional division where it's been more than me. I say this every year. I would rather get smoked by better competition than stand on an empty podium ever again.
Yeah, and I'm with you. That's kind of the way my heart works too. Is that when you're not competing against anybody and you get it's the recognition, right? It's the whole recognition of like you said, standing on an empty podium. We're really celebrating the fact that you showed up. And,
Yeah.
It's hard. But I'll tell you what, Tex, between you and I'm always going to recognize you as the first national champion. I'll tell you why. For several reasons. One is because you were representing a class that was way up underrepresented at that point. It's substantially grown from that point. Not crazy, but it has. The other thing is that at that point, there was no logical reason that you finished that day. There was no reason how I couldn't you won that day. Like, how about that? In my eyes, I know it may be boring your listeners, but to me, you won that day just by getting it done, because it was an ass-kicking course, and you showed up kind of like, okay, this is my first go-round. I've heard it's tough, but let's give it a shot, and you finished. And so, in my eyes, you'll always be the first national champion.
I definitely bled for it.
yeah, you did. And swore and called me out on a couple things. Yeah, that was good. That was a good time, man. That's when I really got to know Tex Grebner.
I think, and this is something that kind of dovetails into the next question that I wanted to cover in this. But so just to clear this one up.
Okay. Basically,
you have a high enough opinion of traditional bow hunters that it isn't that you are saying, whatever,
we don't care about those guys.
We don't care about those guys. You're saying that with a proper rule set, that we're all together and that it would be realistic for traditional guys to place highly.
100%.
Okay.
In fact, Tex, I'll end it with this. In fact, I fully expect that in under 2 years from now, I'm going to have a ton of complaints from the compound people saying those guys should not be shooting half the distance, because I'm going to have the whole platform is going to be filled with traditional guys, because the bow's lighter, right?
Yeah.
The bow's lighter, so it's easier to carry. And if you're fit and you can carry a little bit lighter bow over a course of, say 8 miles, and have to shoot, like this year's at Nationals, it's going to be we're talking about a course that's going to take somewhere between 2 and 4 hours, and you're going to be carrying your bow the whole time. Now, if you have that traditional equipment, it's going to make a difference. So I fully expect this year to somebody be standing on the top of the podium holding a recurve in their hand, or a traditional equipment of sorts, because you guys can flat shoot, and there's no reason for us not to put you in competition and show those compound guys, hey, you know what? Just because I have a recurve in my hand doesn't mean that I'm any.
We're not the token bracket, is what you're saying.
That's right.
So, basically, ladies and gentlemen, show up with traditional, if that's what you do, because they're not in it with us, or we're not. Hang on, this is going to be edited. Show up, because there is no traditional division anymore, because we're not in it with them, they're in it with us. And that's just the way that it's going to be. Now, another reason that I'm kind of glad for this is because the truth is, it is super hard within the traditional division, now that we do have more people, for me, I've been doing traditional almost a decade, but you get somebody that's a master's age, they've got probably my lifespan behind a traditional bow if they never changed.
Sure.
Or even a super master where it's like, holy crap, I'm carrying 100 pounds. They're carrying their weight, and they've been behind a bow. No wonder I'm not on the podium. So men's open, women's open. They're not in it, or we're not in it with them. They're in it with us. So it's going to be scaled, and you need to come out. So what are, everybody knows, everybody can find out the men's and women's different divisions. But that there's different classes within the event this year, and I want you to explain what they are and how you get into each class, if you please, because this is new information for me.
Yes. All right. So when you decide to sign up for the Train to Hunt Challenge, you are going to register in your age group. So essentially, what it is you're going to be allowed to compete with anybody in your age group, or if you want, you can compete with the younger people. Okay. So the open class, and when I say open, I'm talking men's and women's. So the open class is ages 16 to 39. So if you're all in that age group, you're in the open. If you're 40 to 49, you're in the Masters. If you're 50 to 59, you're in the Super Masters. If you're 60 or over, you're in the Senior Masters. Now, that's old news. Really, what the new news is this. In the past, we allowed people to compete in what was called our team division. We had men's teams, we had women's teams, we had co-ed teams. So what we decided, because we had such a demand over the years to be able to compete against their individual age division, as well as on a team, to the point, Tex, where people were saying, hey, I'll run the course twice. I'm thinking, no, I just never allowed it because I didn't want to. They didn't know what they were asking for. So this year, what we did is when you sign up, you sign up as a team, but you're also going to be compared to everybody in your division. And this is so this is how it works. You're going to go out, you're going to compete. We're going to let you compete with your teammates. You can have one teammate or two teammates. So it's going to be teams of 2 or 3, depending on how many friends you can talk into coming out and compete with you. So let's say that you and I and one other guy decided, hey, we're going to go out there and we're going to compete, but hey, let's be a team as well, so we can compete in the team division. Okay, great. So Tex is going to go out and compete, and you're still in the open, right, Tex?
Right.
Yep. So you're in the open. I would compete in the Masters. Let's say we grabbed Bruce Wilson, and Bruce is in the Senior Masters. So the 3 of us are going to go out. We're going to sign up as a team. We're going to actually be able to go out and run in the same heat together, side by side, and we can act as a team. Meaning, if we want, we can slow down for each other. We can encourage each other, but we all have to do the same work as though we were competing in our individual divisions. So Bruce is going to do all his step-ups. I'm going to be doing my step-ups right next to him. You're going to be doing your step-ups right next to me. So essentially, if from somebody looking in, they're not going to really be able to tell that we're on a team. They're just going to know these 3 guys are in the same heat. So let's say we get through the challenge course and we all throw our packs on. Now, we could wait for each other and say, hey, let's hit the mountain course together. So we all hit the mountain course together, and we get through the mountain course. We shoot the 2 targets, and we finish. Now, the difference this year is going to be, say, when you've crossed the finish line, they're going to give you a time. Tex Grebner is going to give you time. When I cross the finish line, I'm going to get a time. When Bruce crosses the finish line, he's going to get a time. If we all 3 join hands and skip across the finish line, we're all 3 going to get the same time. You see what I'm saying? So, and then let's say that we don't decide to join hands and skip across the finish line. And after the mountain course, our strategy as a team was, hey, just go as hard as you can and get the best time you can, because they're going to combine our times for the best for our team score. So let's say we just take off, we get separated, and one guy finishes in, say, 10 minutes, one guy finishes in 13 minutes, and one guy finishes in 14 minutes. Well, for the Train to Hunt Challenge and the mountain course, they're going to take the top 2 out of the 3 guys, and they're going to drop the low score and add the 2 together, and that's going to be the team's challenge course, mountain course time. All right? So fast forward to the 3D shoot, same thing with the 3D shoot. All 3 of us, just like normal, we're just going to shoot our 3D shoot courses. They're going to drop the low score, and the top 2 scores will be added together to combine for the team score. So if you only have 2 people, then both of you are going to score for both events. But if you have 3, you can can drop the low score from an event, which makes it interesting, right, Tex? Because you could really go out and get some ringers, right? You could get a guy that, hey, I know that he can really shoot, but the challenge course is going to kill him, but who cares? Because as long as he gets through it and he shoots 100 on the 3D course, we'll use his 3D score on the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. So that's how the team's going to be structured. So potentially, you could win the Open, I could win the Masters, Bruce could win the Super Masters, and then three of us could win the team competition. So we walk away with the team prizes and the individual prizes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then the next thing, I guess, the big new thing is the elite. Now, this is how this works. At every qualifier, we're going to put all the men, at the end of every qualifier, we're going to put all the men in the same bucket, and we're going to put all the women in the same bucket. And we're going to say, what are the top 20% of men that came out of this qualifier? Just like we did the last couple of years, you know, how we awarded the overall winner of the competition. Well, we're going to give awards for overall man, overall woman, but the top 20% of men and top 20% of women also will earn, that's the key word, earn their elite status for nationals, meaning you can go to nationals and register if you choose to be in the elite division. So regardless of age, regardless of weapon, you're going to be either in the elite, in nationals, you're going to be either in the elite division or you're going to be in the age group division, the Open, the Masters. And you get to choose, but you earn your elite status by being the top 20% male or female at your respective qualifier.
And what is the difference in the elite event?
Okay.
That's the question.
Good question. So the elite division is designed to find the fittest dude and fittest chick on the mountain. They are going to be a step up from what the age groupers are doing. So, for instance, with the 5K run in the morning that we're going to be doing on Saturday, the elite competitors will possibly have, and this is something we weren't going to tell them, but they're going to be a little heavier than the Open people. The challenge course, they're going to be asked to do more work than the age groupers. Because, you know, in the past, Tex, it's been, we don't really care how old you are. You're going to do this number of step overs, this number of get-ups, and you're going to cover the same miles as the young guys. You're just going to be carrying a little bit less weight. Well, this year in the elite division, they're going to be heavier, and they're going to be longer in the challenge course. So it's just like if the Open's here, the elite's going to be like here. It's just going to be a step above that. And so, but the incentive to compete in the elite division is that's where the big prizes are. That's where the cash prizes are. That's where the big, that's where if you want the big payoff, you came there to win some stuff, you got to compete in the elite division.
You've got to earn your spot in it and compete in it.
That's right.
Now,
and then you got to choose to compete in it.
For standard division, for age group division, are there still prizes?
There are still prizes for the age group division. Absolutely. We're not yanking the prizes from the age group divisions, but to give you an idea, the Open, you know how the Open division always got the big prizes, the bows,
right?
Like
bows, packs.
Right? Yeah, they were kind of piled on, and then everybody else got good prizes, but they just weren't the Open prizes, right?
Right.
That's how those prizes are just going to be in the elite hands, and the Open or the age groupers, they're still going to get great prizes Dealer's Choice and Wilderness Athlete and Matthews, and they're still going to get some really good prizes, but they're just not going to. There's no cash prizes in the age groupers.
Which is fine. I just wanted to make sure that I cleared this up in a more concise way as far as that, because, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. You know, elite division, you're playing for cash, and elite division is where Kenton gets to try and kill you because you definitely signed up for it. You at least know that you're in for it. Yeah. You've gotten better, but I'm not going to lie, there is definitely, you are the most constructive sadist that I've ever known. Because you do love to see people hate life, but you also know that only through suffering do you actually acquire a mental toughness. You don't know where you are until you've had to suffer through something. And so...
That's right, Tex. And I'll tell you, just to piggyback off what you said, my love doesn't come from people suffering. It comes from watching people push further than they ever thought they could push. And at the end of it all, they look at me, they're like, maybe like they're just beat up, but they got the biggest smile on their face and love to hate me. And the reason they love to hate me is because, let's face it, most of us don't have the ability to push ourselves beyond what we believe we're capable of. We have this stopping mechanism that's built in that says, you know what, I'm going to do this workout or I'm going to do this and I'm going to stop. But people stop way before they think necessary. That they don't believe they can do it, and so they stop. And what I love to see is people go out there and overcome these self-limitations that they put on themselves, push past it, get the finish line, have a group of people there picking their packs off, and they're elated by the idea that they just did that. Like, I just pushed through that, and I can't believe that I'm still alive. I'm still okay. And that's my favorite part about the Train to Hunt Challenge is being able to. And it's tough because there's some people. You can probably empathize with me on this because I have to try to get Trevor Neostras and the Charlie Pappases and the Earl Ruglins of the world to get to that point as well without killing the people who aren't those guys. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's a hard design. It's a hard design, but
which is, I think, where the elite division comes into play, where you've got everybody and everybody else, and then there is, an elite division, because let's face it, a lot of these guys are professionals. This is what they do. It's who they are. They live it every day. And they're genetically gifted and they work their butts off. Yeah, all of that. But you're right. They're just they're just another level of human beings that are able to do things that some of us only dream maybe one day being able to do. So right. So, but and when I say that you're the most constructive sadist that I've ever known, you do like to watch people hate life, knowing that they're gonna come out the others. It's a trial by fire.
That's right.
You're gonna come out of it, and that's why I really do, because everybody that goes to a qualifier this year, traditional or not, can go to national.
Everybody. If you finish your qualifier, you're invited to nationals.
And with that being said, that's why it's like, you know what? You might as well show up, because I promise you that don't be scared of it, first of all. I have done my best to make sure that people are mentally prepared for what you're going to throw at them. One, they never believe me until they find out that I'm right.
Right.
But I've done my best to make sure that people are mentally prepared for it. But don't be scared of it. I tell you that it's going to suck. because it's going to suck because it's supposed to suck. If it were easy, it would be snowbird, where you walk around up and down a mountain and you shoot at distances that only an asshole would shoot an animal at, because you got your supplements and you got your stabilizer and you got your Hoyt that you probably paid half price for, because, you know, that's apparently the trendy thing to do. Now, keep in mind, I did mention supplements, but Wilderness Athlete is a great company. Right there. Wilderness Athlete is a great company. It's the other one.
It's the other one.
And quite frankly, fine. Go ahead. Fight me. We'll get thrown out of the ATA show next year together. You know, just real quick though, you know who needs to, anybody that's listening, except for the other brand, what I want in a supplement, because what I want in a supplement is somebody needs to make me a powder that tastes like Diet Mountain Dew, so that I don't, every time that I go on a hunting trip with Tripper, have to walk around to satisfy my caffeine addiction. It don't need to be a pre-workout, because I don't need no creatine. I just need a powdered Mountain Dew supplement. And speaking of supplements, two people that I have a lot of respect for, because I'm throwing the supplement companies under the bus. Two people that I have a lot of respect for are Josh and Sarah Bomar. Because even when I was fat, Josh and Sarah Bomar were kind to me, they were inspiring to me, and unlike some supplement companies, they live their lifestyle and they openly advocate that supplements are supplements. They advocate whole foods and general nutrition first, rather than needing the great MacGuffin to get the pump. Sure.
That's why it's called supplements. You're
supplements.
What you're not getting from your food, right?
Yeah, you want to get some collagen. Eat cheap cuts of beef. The kind of beef that you can afford to eat steaks every day. You want collagen? Eat the low cuts. Eat utility cuts. You want collagen? You know what's great? A beef shank in a crock pot.
Have some shank, right? Exactly.
So now that we've knocked out what the breakdowns are and the fact that there had better be, and this is a call out, there had better be some traditional guys that will get into that elite division. There better be. I'm not saying you, I'm just meaning you, Kenton. I'm saying there's got to be somebody out there that's going to say, I will fight in the shade.
Yeah, there will be. I guarantee you, man. I guarantee you. I've seen more. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if there's 4 or 5 guys out there. Honestly, like, why wouldn't they? If the only reason they wouldn't make the elite division isn't because they can't shoot. It won't be because they can't shoot. It'll be because they're just not as good a shape as the other 19%. That's it. It won't be because, man, I was first across the challenge course line by 5 minutes, and I shot, but if they can't shoot, they can't shoot, right, Tex? Like,
right. If you can't shoot,
like, if you go out on the challenge course, or if you go on a 3D course and you shoot a 30, you can't, at targets that farthest distance that you're going to be shooting is 25 yards. There's no reason why you should be in that top 20%. I don't care how fit you are,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the guys. I think we're going to have a lot of guys out there who are going to be able to go out there and shoot well, but they're just not going to have the fitness level behind it. Just like most of the compound people, I think it's just an even scale. Like, if you can shoot your weapon and you're fit, you'll qualify for the elite, period.
Also, I'll piggyback on that for a second. One of my more famous lines from a qualifier was my first year when they interviewed me. And I said, train to hunt. If you can't shoot worth a shit, you'd better be in damn good shape.
Real good shape. Oh, man.
Because I did every burpee there was to do.
Everyone, man. That first year was rough on you. You've come a long way since that first year, man.
And I think that I really encourage people that are watching and listening to this to find a qualifier, train up for it, and show up. And if you can complete the qualifier, well, let me just put it this way. And nobody ever believes me, but here we go. Do not train for the qualifier. The qualifier, unless you've changed it, is a damn cakewalk. Train for the national.
Yeah.
Start training for the national when you begin the decision, because everybody can go to the national. So you might as well get ready now, because the qualifiers, they're fun. You can race. You can have a good time. That doesn't mean that nationals isn't fun. I've never not enjoyed, because I'm sick, I've never not enjoyed a national. But don't go. Train for the qualifiers by training for the national. Which brings me into the last question that I wanted to discuss with you on what are the event breakdowns for the national event? Because you mentioned a 5K. Now, having done the slope that that 5K is probably going to be on, there's going to be some walking. We're talking about 9,000 feet of elevation at, you're not going to gain 9,000. But
you're going to gain about 2.
You're going to gain about 2, and it starts about 8,500, if I remember right. There's going to be some walking. If you aren't going to show up to nationals because you're ashamed to walk that 5K, then I'm sorry. Don't worry about walking the 5K. Yeah. I don't care, and this is something that is near and dear to my heart that people tell me about after they've done it, where I tell people, and I'm telling you, the viewer, it's okay to walk, it's okay to crawl, it's okay to cry, because I guarantee you that you will probably cry your first national. There will be tears. And if you ain't crying, you ain't doing it right. It's okay to walk. It's okay to crawl. It's okay to cry. It is not okay to quit. I don't care if you crawl across the finish line. You finish, because there are certain themes in the world, literature speaking, right? We've got man versus nature, meaning man versus the elements. Man versus animal, which is whatever. So man versus nature, man versus animal, man versus man, man versus himself. You have to live your life as a warrior. Now, your battles might not be Spartan 300. You might not be going into combat, but fitness is, especially coming from a recovered obese person, fitness is a daily battle, and you have to wake up, and you have to be a warrior, and you have to fight that internal battle of living your life 3 cookies away from disaster. I don't want to work out today. I don't want to eat my kale today. I don't want to do this. You have to fight that internal battle of man or woman versus himself. You've got to find that warrior mindset of attacking your problems. And I also, tangent, I am so sick of this absolute ownership shit, okay? You want to talk about absolute ownership? Absolute ownership is closing the fridge door in the middle of the night without eating Kraft singles. Because anybody that has never done that doesn't understand. But you wake up at 2:30 in the morning, you forage eat when you're on a diet, Absolute ownership is coming to your senses and forcing yourself to shut that damn fridge door and go back to bed hungry.
Yeah.
It can be that simple. And so
I think what you're talking about, Tex, is a great topic that I'd love to cover more in depth at some point. And that is essentially just discipline. And that we have to stop, like, here's the big secret to fitness. You ready for it? I'm going to give you a great nugget to fitness. You have to stop doing what you feel like and do what you know you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are an animal that, I feel like having this piece of cake, I'm going to eat it. Or I don't feel like working out, so I'm not going to work out. You need to be able to say, this is what I need to do in order to get to my goals. And come hell or high water, you're going to do it. It's discipline. It's just, what it is stop acting like a child and living your life in response to your right now mood or emotion, and do what you needs to get done, and that is it. That's it. That's the secret. And it's way harder said or done. It's easier said than done, but that is the key. If you know, hey, tomorrow I need to get up, I need to eat clean, and I need to work out. The next day, no matter what happens during that day, your ups and downs, your moods, whatever happens with you around the world around you, you're going to eat clean, you're going to work out because that's the right thing to do. That's why. Not because not because you feel like working out, or you feel like eating kale. Who feels like eating kale? Nobody. The right thing, but they know it's the right thing to do, so they do it. So that's exactly what you're talking about. It's just a matter of having the discipline to do the right thing and stop acting like a child.
And let's not pretend, I'm not saying that you are, but let's not pretend like it's easy. We're dealing with addictions here, and people that have never dealt with an addiction to the calorie euphoria, they don't really understand. I've been there, okay? I have cried over food. I've got no problem admitting it, but it's difficult, and it's discipline. But I also feel the need.
How did you overcome it? I mean, you're saying, you're an basically food addict. How did you overcome it?
I have no idea. I couldn't put it into words. Basically, it's like I say, it's a daily battle. Still, it's never going to go away. Yeah. God, we hear Snyder talk about being a fat kid at heart all the time, right? You put me in front of a bag of Reese's peanut butter cups, and it's like
you're sweating, and I got to get out of here.
It's like you just have to get mean, and so with the National, I would encourage everybody to go. I would encourage, don't think you can't do this. You can look at, not to go all, religion, right? But do you think that the martyrs at the early days of Christianity were having a good time? Of course not. But they were tortured to death because they would die before they gave up their faith. And so I just have, first of all, I need to clarify this. I have no wife. I have no children. I owe no money to anyone. I have an absolute freedom in my existence where I can literally say unashamedly and without exaggeration that I would rather die than say I quit. Go ahead and kill me, Kenton. That's one of my famous lines too. But go ahead and kill me. Go ahead and kill me, because I will die before I quit. Now, that's not true for everybody, But it's true for me because let's face it, dude, I wiped out on the mountain at a ridiculous altitude my first national.
Yeah.
And I had to make that decision of, is my heart going to explode or am I going to walk back to the finish line without my pack?
That's fine.
And it's samurai shit, dude. I will straight up seppuku before I say I quit. You make the rules. You tell me what you want done, and I will do it or I will die trying. Now, that's not to try and scare people off of nationals, and that's not to talk me up. I'm incredibly reckless, you know. But, so there is going to be a 5K run at the start of nationals.
There is. And then at the end of the 5K run, so that 5K run is going to start really early in the morning. And then you will take all the food and water. That's basically what the age groupers are going to have in their pack. It's just food, water, and their bow on their pack, and they're gonna go. Once everybody hits the top of the mountain, we're gonna probably start the 3D course probably somewhere around 2.5 to 3 hours after the 5K start. Thinking everybody will be, no matter what, everybody will be done with that 5K by that point. And then what we'll do is we'll do the 3D shoot. 3D shoot will happen early in the morning, so probably somewhere around 8 o'clock or so, and last till about 3D shoots usually take somewhere between 3 and 4 hours, and then we haven't decided how we're going to get back down the hill. It really just kind of depends on whether they can spin the chair for us and take us down, or we may just have everybody walk down. It's only 3 miles downhill. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to get back down the hill, but we'll get back down the hill, and then the age groupers will go first in the challenge course. The challenge course is just going to be, the best way to describe the challenge course is imagine the qualifying challenge course. So it's exercise, run loop, shoot. The only difference is that it's going to be a very exaggerated run loop, somewhere between 2 and 3 miles, and we're going to have 2 separate run loops. So we're most likely just going to kick off everybody. Like half the group goes in this loop and half the group goes in loop 2, and everybody will take off. And along the run trails, loop 1 and loop 2, there will be some obstacles, and most likely they will be natural obstacles, meaning we'll turn you up the hill in the most gnarly patch of alders or something, and make you beat the hell out of yourself through the brush for 100 yards going straight up the hill. But you get the idea. So we're going to try and bring back a little bit more of a natural obstacle as opposed to trying to simulate obstacles. We're going to try and take these run loops through some natural obstacles, whether it be a creek crossing and beating the brush uphill, a side hill. But these run loops will be somewhere between 2 and 3 miles. When you get back to basically what we'll call home base, there'll be a couple of additional obstacles that we'll have set up for you there that will run very similar to like an obstacle course. So it won't be like a repetitive, you have to grab this sandbag and do 25 get-ups. It'll be more like grab the sandbag, throw it over this log and crawl under the log. Throw it over this log and crawl under the log. Throw over the, and make your way down this obstacle course. And then after you get done with that, you're going to grab these 2 sandbags, and you have to get these 2 sandbags up that hill, around that cone, and back to the start. And then you're going to go shoot your bow, and then you're going to put additional weight in your pack, and you're going to go on loop number 2. And so then you're off and running that way. So we're predicting that it's probably going to be somewhere around 2 hours for the age groupers, between 2 and 3 hours for the age groupers, somewhere between 4 and 6 hours for the elites.
And you are famous for overestimating our potential when it comes to that.
Always. But I'm going to try my best. I'm actually going to do I'm going to be out in Colorado for a whole week because the qualifier is the week before the Nationals, so I'm going to be out there the whole week. So I'm going to be testing all this stuff, and hopefully I can get a good gauge on that.
I remember, I think it was 2 years ago now, that you sent us up that log jam full of rose hips. Yes. That's one of my more fonder memories, is going up that Black Diamond log jam with a pack on my back and in my spandex shorts, legs just cut to shit, and loving it because I knew what I was in for. Yeah. Everybody else, there was about half the people on that hill that you were walking by going, I told you, man. I told you. Yeah. So the other thing that's unique this year is that after Saturday, which is 3 events, 5K is the 3D shoot and the long challenge course, we are going to cut most of the field, and they won't even compete on Sunday. Basically, anybody who does not have the potential of making it onto the podium, we're going to eliminate from the third and the Sunday event, which is going to be, and this is strictly for time and safety.
It's all safety mostly, because Sunday's event is going to be a meat pack, and it's going to be. It won't be like it was last year, but it will be similar and heavier. I don't want to give it away necessarily, but it's gonna be heavy. Not necessarily. How about this? I'll tell you this. I'll tell you anyway. We're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring back the 200-pound meat pack. But I've learned from the past that where I messed up in the past was that I didn't make a mandatory 2 trip. So I guess the easiest way to explain the meat pack on Sunday is going to be, remember the meat pack in Utah, your first Nationals, where it was 1 round with this weight and then 1 round with this weight.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So it's going to be similar to that, only the weight won't change.
Right. So basically, you're simulating having to unload your pack and then re-put your weight back in. That's
right. So it's going to be for the elites, it's going to be a 200-pound pack. It's going to be 100 pounds to the top of the mountain, not to the very top, and then back down to the kill site, grab the other 100 pounds, and bring that up, and you finish.
Okay.
For the age groupers, we'll scale it for the age groupers.
I hope that this interview has cleared up some confusion about the way that Train to Hunt's going to work this year, because the traditional division isn't gone. It's just combined. There's the elite division plus the age group. That way each division is actually scaled for the fitness level of the competitors so that it's not dangerous. And I really hope that we get a traditional bow hunter up on the podium for the elite division. Probably won't be me, but it might be one of you. If you guys want to support the channel, you can go to TexGrebnerOutdoors.com and check out the Make It Weird merchandise and the Kill with Sticks. And, life ain't like the pornos, hunting ain't like the TV shows. So as always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please check out my friends over at ThreeRiversArchery.com. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those of you serving in the military. And thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.